We have received distress calls from Starbase Delta and the other stations at your time. We will go deal with the attack. Cadets, you will go find the Nelly Curie.
So we did Horizons Adventures, and it was an interesting experience. The issues that our event was cancelled over yesterday are persisting today. They're doing a good job kind of covering it up, but the issues are still there. Their software is still failing, and they're still behind, and I'll explain that. So it is just like what's if you mix True Dungeon together with Artemis. So you have a deck of cards, you get like a hand of cards as you would in True Dungeon with tokens, and you apply those cards to your ship to upgrade it, and then you would go do the Artemis part. But the issue is that there's supposed to be a 15-ish minute orientation at the start, and then you play for like an hour and a half or something like that. But our event, we got seated 5 minutes late, which is fine, that happens. And our orientation ended up lasting roughly an hour. The first 20 minutes we just sat down and nobody came over. We started reading our own cards and trying to figure out what on the table needed to go where, but it wasn't until about 30 minutes in that somebody was like, oh, hey, looks like you guys figured it out. And the guy giving you the orientation will be here in like a minute. And then that didn't happen for another like few minutes. The guy giving the orientation finally came over, was like, great, you guys are ready to go, let's go play the Artemis part. And we were like, no dude, we don't know what we're doing, you need to explain to us how this game works, what the cards mean, where do we put them. So he kind of was like, sure, yeah, but it's fine, you guys figured it out. So we didn't really get that part. They played an orientation video which crashed twice, but eventually we got it and we sat down in the room with the battleship simulator, which looks very, very cool. And then in the room itself, they did not tell us how to actually play the game, and their software crashed over and again. I think one time the sound was off, and then their projector was reversed a couple of times. So we sat in that room for about 20 minutes, and then they were like, great, launch the mission. And we were all like, no dude, stop, you got to tell us what to do on these computer screens, because it was just all buttons that we didn't know how to work. So he gave us probably each like a 15-second, like, here's the buttons review, and then we started playing. And I would say we started playing at 10:30 and stopped at 11:10. So we played for about 40 minutes, 1900 end. And so we played for roughly like 40 minutes. And I feel like that was enough time to kind of just get through the tutorial before we start actually playing like the game itself, the meaty part. But we were done and we had to leave. So technically our event was 2 hours, starting at 9:20, ending at 11:20, and we did it at 11:10. However, the orientation is supposed to be like 15-30 minutes, not an hour and a half. So technically they're ending on time, but they are also like shorting you on actual like the play part of it. So here's my review. Overall, the experience this year was not good, and it was not worth $40 per person, which for 3 of us was $120. Absolutely not worth it. I would not do it for that price. However, I can see the potential of it. They have really cool tech. They have cool sound effects. They have cool features that they're doing. And if it were to work the way they say that they can work it, then it would be amazing, worth $40. However, we were the second run of the day. There's no reason to be behind schedule and for things not to be working at that time. So at this point, I can't recommend it. Just play Artemis. You know, and I'm not trying to be like mean to them at all. Like, their idea is really great. Their execution is not good. Even when they were trying to explain things, they were using a lot of jargon that nobody understood, and they went too fast. There's so much downtime. They could have easily tried to explain some things to us. And they have some stuff in the table. I think as you saw it, there's like where you put down cards and a grid, and that was not color coded appropriately and had no information on how you're supposed to play the cards. And if they had done that, if they're gonna have you wait for that long, giving people there an easy way to understand how to play their cards and teaching themselves would be a good idea, but they did not take that opportunity. So I think it could be good, it's just not good now. What are we doing?
We're gonna do a true dungeon.
We're doing a true dungeon run. How do we feel about it? Optimistic? We say, okay, what's our over-under on winning? Yay or nay? I think we're gonna do it.
Okay,
And
we'll find out.
one more question, what is the theme?
Oh, pirates.
Pirates! We're gonna go get booty. Booty, booty, booty. Here, it's just a quick video of us like standing here. Ebony Bay. Ebony Bay, we did a thing. What's your name?
Phil,
Phil, what do you do at Gen Con?
I am a coordinator for True Dungeon.
How long have you been watching my videos?
7 or 8 years?
Do you recommend people try True Dungeon?
Absolutely, I love this game.
What's the best one to like start with? How do you get started?
So any of them are fine to start with. You can start at a normal difficulty or even non-lethal where you're not going to die. Any of them are fine to start with. It's a great time.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I actually never ended up giving you guys my review of how our True Dungeon run went after our interesting Horizons Adventure run that we did earlier that day. But I can't say my True Dungeon run was good. But I do feel like all of the feedback that I have, if implemented, could make it better. So here's what happened. We got checked in for our event, and the first thing that happens is you're brought into a room to create your character. And right from the get-go, they were not particularly interested in teaching us how this game goes. There's one or two GMs in that space that are I presume are there to help you get set up and then document on like a group sheet what all the characters and their stats and abilities are, so that it makes rolling more efficient throughout the entire event. But Liz and I asked for help multiple times, and the guy was just particularly not interested in answering our questions or sitting down with us to explain the character sheet, what the tokens did, and once we got into the space, how some of those things would work. So Liz and I just tried our best to kind of figure it out by ourselves. He was much more interested in spending time with the people that were in the space already, that had the like trunks of True Dungeon tokens. He was much more interested in helping them figure out how to min-max their character. So me and Liz tried our best to kind of figure it out by ourselves. And when he finally came around to us, because yes, he did skip us in the lineup when going around to document all the characters, and he did finally come back to us. He still was not interested in really talking to us very much about it, though he did tell us that our characters were not playable because we didn't have enough tokens, which, like, if I'm paying $88 to play in your event, I kind of feel like you should be giving me enough tokens to make a playable character. Just advice number one. I guess advice number two. Advice number one is, like, maybe staff your room with people that are interested in helping people get to the next step. He, I guess, kindly flubbed the numbers on our character sheet so that we would not be like dead immediately. So, whatever. Then there was a vote amongst 3 of the highest token players there to decide if we should play the easy, medium, or hard version of the game, and they decided to go for medium. I don't know if that is a thing that happens where you only ask the top players, but that was fine. Once you do that, you get moved into like a training room where they show you how to like hit, like do the melee or ranged weapon things. And I guess spellcasters have to like memorize charts and stuff like that. Again, we were a little confused as to why we were doing some of these things, but that part of the room is like a 5-minute timer, so you don't get a lot of time. The guy in that room was actually very kind and helpful, but he didn't. There's 10 people. There's 10 people in every run, so he didn't have a whole bunch of time to help us understand what was going on before ushering us to the next room. So we entered the second room, or the first room of True Dungeon. That was like officially part of the adventure, and basically immediately a fight breaks out. And everybody who's played True Dungeon before knows what to do next, but we didn't. So by the time we realized we were supposed to maybe do something, but we didn't know how, the NPC in the room was like, oh great, you hit the pirate, everybody's already done their actions, I guess we're moving on to the next round. And me, Ali, and Liz never got to take an action. So again, part of the introductory part, or part of any NPCs in that run, should be able to pick out who the new players are and help them through that first encounter so that they know what to expect going forward. We went into this space extremely anxious because we felt very unwelcome during character generation. So we were really anxious about doing the right thing in this first room, and we didn't want to be in the way. We wanted to do a good job, so it just meant we missed out on any of the fun. So it really feels like we're not given enough time to really get used to the space, used to a room, engage with the NPCs, and figure out what's going on before having to like deal with the room and get out. It feels like there's always another group right behind you, and the NPCs are really just trying to get you through this encounter so that they can take care of the next group. And it really felt like some of the NPCs straight up were like, the answer you're looking for is like over there. I mean, they didn't say it out loud, but they would like indicate very clearly with eyes where you had to go next. And it was extremely clear that they were doing that because another group needed to come into the room to also do their part of their session. And that doesn't feel good, especially as a new player. So 100% I recommend not running sessions that tight back to back. It's not fun. I don't feel like I got to engage with the NPCs, with the experience. I didn't get to feel comfortable. I didn't get to, I don't know, you're marketing this experience as like a real life dungeon that you get to be in, you fight monsters, you interact with NPCs, but you're not letting me do that. You're trying to get me through an encounter and solve a puzzle real quick so that you can get another group through. So make the group smaller, and also, I mean, I don't know how tightly you're running them close together, but spread them out more, because you are not delivering what you're saying you're offering. So we do all of the things. We ultimately survive the dungeon. We win in the end, which was good. The players we had in that group were very good, and they knew what they were doing, and they had all sorts of powers. It was at the very last encounter that I was actually given a chance to have a moment to read my character sheet and see that I had abilities on there that I could have been using the entire time. And I used them in the last encounter, but it would have been nice to have them throughout. And then when you win True Dungeon, I don't know what happens if you don't win, but you get like, I don't know, you get like a button, and you get a couple of like tokens and stuff like that. Finally back in the hotel room. So all in all, I think True Dungeon can be a fun experience, but I can't recommend it for $88 for new players right now. Definitely seems to be geared towards veteran players that have a lot of tokens, and their goal is to get more tokens. It feels like there's like a min-maxing game and getting more token, like it just feels more geared towards veteran players. I hope, like, if they're having fun, and if that's what True Dungeon wants to do, that's totally fine. One of the other highlights though was meeting one of my subscribers outside of the event. We him and I have been like chatting forever, and we meet every Gen Con and we say hi, and every year I'm like, I'm gonna do True Dungeon, and honestly, like, saying hi to him and being able to engage a little bit and take a picture and just talk a little bit was actually super fun. And seeing a welcoming face once we got out of the main space, because he's the person that was in charge of like the rewards after we won, that was really refreshing because we had just had a little bit of a sour experience, and seeing a pleasant face that was just excited and energetic and just honestly like, hey, you get all these tokens and we survived a pin was so, just great. And he's actually just so passionate and excited about True Dungeon, so I feel bad saying some of these negative things that I'm saying, because I think his vision of what True Dungeon is and can be is so different than what I experienced. So again, what I experienced today was my own experience. And, your mileage may vary. That's just what happened to me today.
Attention Gen-Con attendees and exhibitors. Time is 6 o'clock and exhibit hall is closed for the night. Don't worry, it will reopen tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Exhibitors, you have 1 hour in the hall tonight.
What?
Hi Rocky, Lena, Amber, I miss you guys, wish you were here.
Bye!
Thank you, Nelly.
We may have been slightly further back if we'd have known about the flashlight sooner.
Yeah. What did you guys think?
Well, the good news is the exact same thing happened to the previous game. They got down to the last morale and pulled it off.
Yep. It's very much like, it's amazing what people can do when they are stuck in stressful situations together.
Yeah.
We held up real well, and honestly, Lambert, based on the movie, I did not think you were gonna make it this long. What did you think, you guys?
It was good.
I had very little hope at the start. Like, we declined
I was
very
about to say,
fast.
once we really started booking down that morale track.
We had a lot of bad luck real early.
Good call with that light. I think that saved us.
Yeah, the flashlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
flashlight.
didn't even realize what it did. It's just the thing we needed to build. But no, that helped a lot.
I agree.
it for the night. I really hope y'all enjoyed watching this video, that y'all ended up coming along on this ride with me, and if you're watching it after the show has ended, I hope you find it fun and it adds to like your own memories of what Gen Con was this year. And yeah, tomorrow's exciting. Tomorrow's Saturday. Saturday's big Gen Con day. It's going to be the busiest day of all of them. The vendor hall is going to be packed. We're going to have the costume walk. It's going to be killer breakfast. And I think I have a couple of events. I believe I'm going to the burlesque event at night, 10 p.m. And then somewhere in the middle of the day, I'm going to a game of Horrified, which again is a Ravensburger title that I really love. And actually Stuart brought it with him to the convention, so there is a possibility that we might actually return our tickets and have a more flexible time in playing it whenever, you know, Stuart wants to bring the game and we can just play whenever we want. So I tried last Gen Con, I tried Horrified, the cryptid version, and he has with him the first edition, which has some of the more classic monsters in it, so I really want to try that out. Tomorrow's gonna be a good day.